everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Taylor, and today I am at you with another review. So today we are going to be reviewing the new Morphe and Saweetie collaboration. I have almost everything here. The only thing I did not get from the collection was the brush set, just because I actually just bought some brushes from Morphe a few weeks before I made this order. And the brushes didn't look like anything I didn't already have in my collection, and I am honestly not a huge fan of belt bags, so I didn't feel it necessary to buy the brushes. But I got the eyeshadow palette, the mini continuous setting mist, the sweet peach scented one. That's the only one that there was. And then the lip gloss trio. So yeah, we're just gonna get we'll start off with the star of the show, the eyeshadow palette. This is the 24A Artist Pass eyeshadow palette. The packaging is super beautiful and just like reminds me of like festival or like a desert sunset. It is super pretty, and it's pretty slim, so that's nice as well. I didn't do arm or hand swatches for this video because I honestly feel like those don't do any eyeshadows justice, because for instance in the Jeffree Star Bloodlust review, when I was swatching them, a lot of the shades were kind of coming up more sheer and not as pigmented as they come up on the eyes, because most of them performed really nicely on the eyes, but it just doesn't show it in the swatches in my opinion. So I did not want to do that with this palette, because I feel like you guys will see in the little mini tutorial that I have for you guys a general idea of how they'll perform on the eyelids. And in that tutorial I didn't do this look. This look I did use this eyeshadow palette for. I used the shades Stage Persona, Seek Shade, and Secret Set. Secret Set is so beautiful. It's that super shimmery shade all over my lids. This look came out a lot vampier than I intended, but that's okay because I was just going wherever the makeup and my hands took me, and obviously this is where it went. I also have the lip gloss in the shade 8-inch on my lips right now, but we'll get into those in a minute. But yeah, in the little tutorial you guys will see a general idea of how they apply on the eyes, and I even used some of the more fun, more difficult shades, if you will. This is what the inside of the palette looks like. You get pretty much what the palette looks like. You get tons of fun shades and glitters, and you get some nice mattes as well, and a few of these lighter shades and neutrals. It's a really fun palette. I think the palette was kind of intended for you to get out of your comfort zone and really do something creative with it, which I feel like you definitely can. As you can see, oh, also it has a mirror, which is nice, but as you can see there are a lot of pressed glitters. You get 7 pressed glitters, Wild Out, Spotlight Stealer, all these at the bottom row. They are such fun colors. I feel like you don't see a lot of like these neon colors in palettes. I feel like it's really rare to come by, especially like neon yellows, and like this green looks so stunning. I can't wait to use that. I haven't used every shade yet, but I've used a few and I've created a few different types of looks with this palette now. This one's kind of vampy. The tutorial you guys will see is a very nice.
Release the cash, watch it fall slowly. she love me, I think she trolling. That girl is a real crowd please. Small world, all her friends know me. Young bull living like an old geese. Quick release the cash, watch it fall slowly.
On, and then the first time I did look with it, it was more mustardy and neutral. I loved that look. But yeah, there is a lot you can do with this palette. I feel like this palette is very standard Morphe formula. Even the pressed glitters, I really like them. The Morphe Jeffree Star palette, for reference, has a pressed glitter in it, and it's one of my favorite pressed glitters I've ever used because they can be pretty tricky sometimes. I just feel like they can get really greasy and creasy and transfer really easily, but these ones don't have that big of a problem with it, just like the one in the Morphe Jeffree Star palette. So I really like these. They're just a nice traditional Morphe formula, but the one thing I will say, which I will insert comparison videos of, is this has a ton of fallout and kickback. One of the only shades that I have used so far that doesn't really have it is Seek Shade, but every other shade that I've used so far has had quite a bit of kickback and quite a bit of fallout on the face. It doesn't bother me too much, but I know it does bother some of y'all out there, so I wanted to mention it. And in the video, or the comparison videos, you guys will see I dipped my brush into a few shades in this one, and then I did it with the Morphe Jeffree Star palette and the Morphe James Charles palette, and you'll see that the other two palettes compared to this one do not really have that issue.
Order. Lasses trying to get me for my water. I lay his ass down on my son or my daughter. I had the Draco with me, Dwayne Carter. Lot of lasses out here playing. Ain't ballin'. I done put my whole arm in the rim, Vince Carter. And I know probably get a key for the quarter. Shotty, barely seen in double C's. I bought her. Got a bitch that's looking like a Leah, she a model. I got the pink slip. All my whips is keyless. Compton, I'm about to get the key to the city. Patter, like the sea, forget it. Pulling out the coops at the lot. Told them fuck 12, fuck squat. Busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box.
I don't know what it is. I think these are just pressed really softly. They're just really soft shadows. I have no idea. But there is a ton of kickback and fallout when you use this palette. So if that is something that bothers you, keep that in mind when looking at this collection. But other than that, they are really pigmented. They blend out pretty easy. The only thing is, and I haven't used all of them, but Seek Shade is a little bit patchy. I'm wearing it today and I had a little bit of a hard time blending out the outer corners, and I use this Ride or Sky neon blue shade, and that's pretty patchy and kind of needs to be built up more, as well as these lighter shades up here, like Get the Shot and Portrait Mode. Those are super more muted, toned down light shades, so they do need to be built up as well, but I had no problem blending those ones specifically. Just the more like deep kind of shades are a little bit patchy, but it's nothing you can't work with and make it look decent. I did it today. I think it looks decent enough. I've had worse makeup looks than this, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I don't have a lot to say. The palette is really nice. I'd rate it probably like a 7 out of 10. It's a really good, more affordable palette if you're looking to go out of your comfort zone, or if you're like a festival or a rave girl, this would be perfect for you. Now, what I also want to say about this palette is that I'm not 100% sure, but I'm probably pretty positive that they don't recommend to use this Spotlight Stealer shade on your lids. It has these super chunky little star flecks in it, as you can see, but to each their own. As long as you are an adult about it and you know that if one of those gets in your eyes, it could seriously damage it, and you just try to be careful and mature about it, then you should be fine to use that wherever you would like. But I'm not saying do it, I'm just saying use your best judgment. Okay, next we're gonna get into the Continuous Setting Mist. This is just their original formula, but in a mini size with a different kind of color packaging going on and a scent to it, just like the Jeffree Star one had, except for the Jeffree Star was a full size. That was like strawberry scented. This is a mini one and it's peach scented. The formula is still the same. It's still the same amazing continuous setting mist. This formula is one of my favorite formulas of setting sprays. I feel like it would work well for all skin types. It just really melts all your products into your skin, makes them look a little less cakey, and just sets everything down really nicely for the day. And it's a super fine mist, as you can see. Like, you can't even really feel it when it goes on your face, so it's very lightweight, which I love. The packaging, super cute and neon, really fun for the summer. The smell, sis, I don't know about this smell. It kind of smells like peach Play-Doh. Like, it's very, like, muted and, I don't know, dusty, if you will. Like, it has a slight peach smell. Like, it's the general idea, but it definitely has, like, that waxy kind of, like, crayon Play-Doh smell. So it's a little weird. It's not fully peachy, but it's not the worst thing I ever smelled. So it's kind of just up to you. I mean, you can find this in a Morphe store or Ulta store. I'd kind of just spray it and smell it and see if it's what you're into before you buy it. But the mist is still the same great mist and formula, even in the different scent and packaging. It's awesome, and I love that they came out with a mini. It's going to be great for traveling whenever we are able to do that again. Next, going into the lip glosses, I will insert swatches on my lips in more natural lighting of all of them for you here in a second. Like I said, I'm wearing 8 inches right now. They all look like this. This is 8 inches. This is Money Mommy, and this is Boss Tycoon. They're just the Icy Lips by Morphe and Saweetie. They're like a lip platinum, I guess. I don't know. Basically, how I would describe these as a super kind of light sheer jelly gloss. As you can see, this is kind of like the color in the tube, and this is the color on my lips. And this is I would say like 2 layers of it. So it's very sheer, more jelly-like. It's not super thick and sticky, which is nice. It's more comfortable to wear. So that'll be good for if you're wearing it throughout the day. It just has these super pretty like shimmers and glitters in it. They make it super multi-dimensional and fun and make your lips just look a little more pouty and juicier. But the color isn't going to be super pigmented. I'm sure if you like layered it on, it would be, but they are more sheer and kind of like jelly-like I said. And I personally really like that because I don't know about you, this is just me personally, but I wouldn't wear this full pigmented color of gloss on my lips. I feel like it's a little much, and I feel like it'd be really high maintenance, especially because it's a gloss. It would get all over your teeth and just be a hot mess and probably not be fun throughout the day. So I really like that they are more sheer, just kind of like shimmery, pouty formula, because you could really use these at any time. This is the only one that is a little more like crazy, and as you can see, it's still nothing that crazy. It's still more sheer and wearable. So I really like these. I like that the formula isn't super thick and gloppy. The packaging isn't my favorite. I don't really like the whole like squeeze tube applicator, but it's not the worst. Like, it didn't get all crazy all over my lips. It was more precise, which is nice, because usually something like that can get really gloppy and messy. Those didn't. They're not bad. Overall, I'd probably give those a 9 out of 10. They're a really nice formula. For me, as long as they're not super sticky and gloopy and gross, I don't mind. So those are really nice, affordable glosses. video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. That would be dope. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.